I bought a car!
On tonight's episode of It's Broken Podcast, Cliffy G makes a purchase. And Marky gets all dolled up for the show.
Last episode, way too much shine. Way too much greasy fat pig. Here we go. Take that shine down. Take that shine down. Take that shine down. Go! It's broken. 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 It's broken.
Hey, how's it going out there, everybody? It's Broken Podcast. This is episode 2. Kind of interesting, keeping it going. It's your boy Cliffy G. With me, as always, is Mark.
Hello.
How we doing today, Mark?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good.
All right.
Yeah.
So I noticed that in our first episode, we didn't really get into a little bit about what we're about.
True.
So I kind of want to give everybody who's listening a bit of a heads up on, who we are, what this whole spiel is that we're doing. And what do you think, Mark? What do you got going your way, buddy?
Well, I guess we should talk a little bit about ourselves, right? We've known each other for about a decade now, right? About 10 years or so.
It goes by so quick, bud. It really does, man. It feels like it was just yesterday. Ay.
We met through a mutual friend, Crispy. We're all musicians, and we got together to jam. Cliff, you play the drums, and I play guitar and sing and stuff, and we just kind of bonded really quick doing that, and had a band together for a little while.
Indeed.
We played one show.
Yeah, it was a ripper.
It was good. Yeah.
It was funny because we had a few before, and we were supposed to go on like earlier, right? It was first or something like that.
Yeah.
It was an open mic kind of thing, or
kind of.
I get hit in the head a lot, man, so I don't remember too much.
I know. I'm the one that hit you. I'm well aware.
Okay, but yeah, and then I remember it was like $1 Rolling Rocks or something, and then we ended up having to wait to go on because they wanted to get more people in there before we went on.
Yeah.
And so
we got pushed back like 3 hours.
Word. Okay. And then the nerves were about a little bit, so we ended up.
So we were drinking and stuff, trying to prepare, and you can't slow that kind of momentum down, or you're going to be half asleep on stage. So by the time we got on stage, we were hammered ass drunk. What I liked about that show was we had spent months practicing with you on a live drum kit, and then for the show, they couldn't have a live drum kit, so you had to repeat everything on a tiny little drum machine that I've got over there.
Yes, dude.
And you were just rocking out.
It was like playing a calculator.
Yeah.
It's. It sounded great. I mean, I kept the time.
You got my respect forever for doing that.
It's.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it was cool, man. And we do have a picture, which is we were not the most organized from what I remember as far as taking pictures, and we definitely organized when it came to like practicing somewhat, and then the setup and the sound and everything, and we just focused on that so much that we never got people to take pictures. And
we did,
but
we made the mistake of having someone's girlfriend take the video, and
Chestnut.
we had
I think
Crispy's.
Her name was that old Chestnut, wasn't it?
Yep.
Old Chestnut.
I think Chestnut might have been her maiden name. She's married now.
Indeed.
But she took the video, and then not long after, Crispy broke up with her, and we never got the video. So
it's a lesson for all you kids
lesson
out there.
learned.
Don't ever get the girlfriend to
have your mom shoot the video. She's giving you the ride there anyway.
Yes, or just pay a homeless guy like $15 and make sure he doesn't run away, and then just get him to stand there and film.
Yeah. It's just a short length of chain and a couple carriage bolts will ensure that he's not going anywhere.
A lot of things the kids are doing nowadays is just setting up the little tripod right off the view there, and you can see, and hopefully nobody knocks it over or steals your stuff. But
yeah, so
we digress.
This is pretty much your show here. I'm just kind of Cliff came to me wanting to do a podcast, and I told him I'd do whatever I could to help.
Amen.
So what do you? What are your plans for doing this?
Well, I am of course, podcasts are huge. Like everybody and their grandma's got a podcast. Like literally, somebody's grandma has a podcast.
Mine does as well. Yeah.
I like
terrible.
to joke around a lot, and I like music, and I also can be quite opinionated sometimes. So I feel like if there's a forum that I can let out all this stuff artistically or mentally or just babble about something, and people out there will listen to it. I mean, some of the podcasts I've heard are just people just reading stuff off of WikiLeaks and just commenting about it, and they're monetized. They're and again, I'm not in it for the buckaroos, but I mean, it wouldn't hurt to pay the bills a bit, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and we talked about for a while now wanting to get into doing skits and just stupid little shorts and videos.
Absolutely. And we talk like, oh man, we always have these ideas like, oh, this would be so hilarious, and then we one up each other. And then the thing is resources, which is something. So we're battling that. So it's definitely a low budget. And talking about being monetized, one of my reasons for wanting to be monetized would be to get better equipment, better quality editing. If we can actually do like CGI and stuff like that, even if it's just really crappy, like green screen or effects where we can go outside and like car explosions or whatever, like the more we can get into, the better everything will get.
Yeah, man.
So this is like a jumping off point.
Those are some high hopes, but
I know, right?
Why not? It's been done.
Yeah, gotta dream, kid.
Yeah.
Dare to dream.
For me, it's something I've not done. I've not used. This is all music production equipment that we're using right now for a podcast. I've never done a podcast, and up until a few months ago, I'd never done video editing either. So it's new stuff for me to learn. To ensure that I'll never really make any money at anything I do. Right. Which I think is important.
Jack of all trades, you kind of spread it around. But I got to say, man, props to you, bro, because, I mean, you've done a really good job. I mean,
thanks.
This is my first podcast, but it's really nice to come in here. Everything sounds great. The video our first episode, check it out, that you edited looks great. And it's
I appreciate
really cool,
that, man.
This dude's a hard-working guy, and
I take a lot of pride in learning futile skills.
Right.
None of this will matter in
can
like
you knit?
15 years.
Real talk, like, can we knit or?
I'm getting there, but my problem with knitting is you can make utilitarian clothing with it. Like it can serve a purpose.
Interesting.
And if it does anybody any actual good, then I'm not really into it.
So no, you remember those bracelets back in middle school that the girls would always be braiding and making? And
yeah,
I grew up on an Indian reservation, so it's a little different.
We had those at white people school.
Interesting.
Too.
I bet they were all just like gray, no flavor.
I suppose. Sure.
No soul to it, Anyway, I digress again. But yeah, that's about it, man. Sky's the limit.
Yeah, we're gonna, I guess, talk about anything. Our last episode was about a movie. We didn't want to limit ourselves to just staying on one theme.
Right.
That way we can make sure we never hold down an actual demographic.
Indeed.
We kind of just want people wandering in and out every year or so.
We want to be like the thrift store of podcasts.
But not just any thrift store. We want to be like the CHKD of thrift stores. Yeah, nobody here is aiming for that Goodwill shit.
Right.
Who do we think we are?
Right. I mean, that's like the Walmart of thrift stores, basically, is Goodwill.
Yeah.
I've heard some things. That's a podcast for another day, even.
I think so, possibly.
Write that down. That's
Thanks.
it, man. Like, dare to dream, let's get into it on the ground floor and see where it goes.
Yeah.
Like, I know we're busy. Mark's busy with his band, Clone Alone. Shouts out to that. You got to check them out. That's some really good stuff. I'm busy. I have a daughter. She's 2 years old. I live with my wife, so she's working, going to school. I'm raising the kid. She's raising the kid on her time. We have a scheduling thing.
You
so
just
it's a big hullabaloo.
Rubbing that family thing in my face every chance you get.
Be careful, but never mind. I'm not even going to go there.
You know that my ovaries are barren.
Indeed. I thought, well, you grew up next to that power plant, and I always told you.
I grew up in that power plant.
There's a gay bar called the Power Plant. But
That's exactly the place I'm talking about.
Were you? Oh, I remember you now.
I'm the little latchkey
they called
kid
you
that would
Tater
clean up the
Tot.
broken glass.
You were Tater Tot, and you'd
Yeah.
always see the top of your head going by the bar, and you'd say, "Oh, you need some glasses," and you grab the glasses and go wash them and spit.
Shout out to my boy Tater Tot, by the way.
No doubt. Oh, there's a Tater Tot.
There's a real one.
Interesting.
He's a real one.
He's a real one.
He is a real one.
Yeah, baby, I'm a real one.
Yeah,
Right,
he
that's good.
little side note, he actually his neighbors called the police on him yesterday claiming that he was doing 125 miles per hour on his lawn tractor and he looked suicidal. Yeah.
So that's a question where it's like, was he on meth or was his neighbors on meth?
Had to have been his neighbors. What I'm wondering is first off, how can you clock somebody if they're crying or frowning or not when they're doing $1.25 on anything?
Right.
And B, how could you possibly be suicidal if you're hauling ass on a lawnmower? It's impossible.
If you got a lawnmower that does 125 miles an hour, I would not have a reason to kill myself.
There's a baseline of happiness, and depression is so far below that, out of the range.
I'm sure there's a lot of people out there, and this is not to say anything about depression. That's some real stuff. But I feel like if people were in a certain situation and you roll up in their driveway and you're like, this John Deere can do 125, and then you just like drift away, like they're gonna start putting things back together.
It didn't happen, by the way. His lawnmower does 10.
Oh,
his lawnmower does 10.
So the neighbors were on crystal meth then.
Yeah.
Did they mention the fact that it was like burning, like it was in flames the whole time, and
it would have had to have been.
Jesus was on the front.
The tires would have melted off.
Indeed.
The wheel bearings would have turned to fireworks.
The friction alone would have just melted right down. Interesting.
Oh, yeah.
So what happened with that? They just went to his house and were like, "Can we see the lawnmower?" Or like
he closed the curtains and refused to answer the door for several hours.
Yes.
And like anything else, when you do that, the problem basically just goes away after a while.
Right. I actually have heard a story about that where some friends of mine they were having a party, and there was nefarious things going on, and somebody called the police, and apparently there was some people that were underage inside, and they just never answered the door, and they went and went inside like the interior rooms, like the bathroom, the hallway, and just rode it out for like 7 hours. And then it was like 1 o'clock when the cops came, and they stayed in there until the sun came up. And eventually the cops, I guess it was like a shift change or something. The cops just went away.
Yeah.
Magically. And everybody came out, and it was like the sun was shining. They're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Waffle House,
That's great. Yeah. You hear that, Waco? You did it all wrong.
No doubt.
Idiots.
Too soon, man. Too soon.
So in this episode, we're going to be talking about buying and selling used vehicles.
Yeah. Just a lot of things that can go along with that. I mean, I definitely learned the hard way. I didn't have a lot of people to show me the right direction to go and what to think. And I got some age on me. I'm a little long in the tooth, if you know what I'm saying. So I was buying cars before the internet. Like they still had the flip phones and the bag phones, and
Gotcha.
there was internet, but it wasn't as accessible as it was, and I probably didn't even care. But yeah, so you had to you look people in the eye and shake a hand and all that, and then But quick question, man, what in Moses sandals is going on here, bud? You've got
What do you mean?
You've this powdery substance, man. It looks like you teabagged a bag of donuts or something.
What, on my face?
Yes.
On this face? On this face?
That one. No, no, yeah, that one. All right.
Yeah. Well, in the last episode, my face was real shiny. We kind of had a debriefing about that. I was a little self-conscious. I told you I looked like Slimer before he was a ghost. So I figured they do it in the movies all the time. I just needed some kind of makeup to knock the shine down. But I'm not a fucking weirdo. I'm a guy. I live alone. I don't keep makeup in the house.
Right.
So I just used a little baby powder and just tamped it just to knock the shine down a little bit.
Shouts out to Shine Down, a terrible band, not to
I
hate
didn't,
or whatever. But
I didn't think it was. I mean, it's pretty. I think it's pretty subtle.
It's not bad. It's not terrible. Bad. All right. So
Thanks, man.
we'll work on it.
Cool.
We'll get. It's a jump off point.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
But it'll pick up. I mean, it'll look good on camera, though, right?
Oh, absolutely, dude. I can't see
Cool.
too good. Is that Bradley Pitt over there?
Oh, man. Come on.
I know. Where are we going? Oh,
I'm blushing
Good times.
underneath this makeup.
it looks a little rosy. But it's still powdery.
Should I put more on?
Emphasis on the word moron, but I wouldn't do that.
No, it's baby powder, though.
You know, it would depend on what you're going for.
Just wanted to knock the shine down.
Don't knock Shine down. They're a
But-
pretty decent band.
I mean, same thing with you, though, man. What do you
Oh.
got going on? You look a little beat up. We talked about you were going to, we wanted to dress up a little bit. I'm wearing the shirt that you got me
Right.
several years. All the stuff came off, but I figured it's actually my nicest shirt.
You can still make out the things. It's fine.
Yeah.
We'll go to the Walmart of thrift stores later, and we'll see. We'll do a little detective work, and maybe we'll
But-
find something decent.
What happened to you, man?
I gonna segue into the topic for this evening. I actually purchased a used car recently, and that was kind of
Oh, cool. Congratulations, dude.
thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not exactly.
Did you get it off of like there's a few different places a lot of people go to now, like Facebook Marketplace is really popular
I've seen that.
and Craigslist.
Yeah.
So where'd you get yours from, man?
Well, yeah. Yeah, you know, when they call you and they say, oh, you know, we're here to talk about your car's extended warranty. I didn't
Yeah.
have a car, so the guy actually sold me a car,
No kidding.
and I got the extended warranty, and I haven't got it in the mail yet, but he says he's going to mail it to me.
The warranty.
Yes.
Well, I mean,
But-
probably a smart move.
No, he seemed really friendly because I paid him through something called PayPal. And I think that
Yeah.
only like really, you know, like you're a friend with somebody, you make a connection, like you pay them through PayPal, like, okay,
Not
just
how
as-
that works at all, but that's cool, man.
good as a handshake? Question mark?
Yeah. Sometimes better, sometimes worse. But that's awesome, man. So you got this awesome car.
No, it was not awesome. It was awesome at first. And yeah, you know, it
All right.
it actually, it blew up. Like it wasn't like the engine blew like white smoke. Like, no,
Yeah.
it literally burst into flames. And
Jeez.
there was a concussion, and I have a concussion from the concussion. I think because I get a little in and out. You know, I've only had like half a beer, and like I see things. But yeah. So I once that happened, I had already taken it to my mechanic, and he looked at it, and he went through it. All the bells and whistles, top to bottom.
Okay. All right.
frame
Well,
up.
that's smart. That you got it. At least you got it inspected before you need the inspection. You can get a rundown on it.
Afterwards. I already paid on pal. He's not my pal. I paid on it.
All right. Well, I mean,
paid for the car, and then I got it inspected.
all right. So it's good to go. Like there's not anything wrong with it. And
It's not. There's a lot.
oh,
Yeah, I got it all right here. As a matter of fact, just a few things. I mean, really, it's
all right.
see all the red.
Yeah, that's a full page though, bud. That's more than a few.
Well, you're a glasses half kind of empty kind of guy, right?
I can be, but I mean, what is it? It's just like a bunch of minor stuff, right?
I
Like you need
just
a new
see this
side
as
mirror.
potential for learning.
Sure. Well, what does all it need? It's probably like
It's a
stupid little things or what?
well, okay, so stuff like your headlights went blind. Transmission is haunted. The tires were actually full of rocks. Stuff, average things that a person would, the serpentine, what he says, the serpentine belt bit me. I don't know what that means. The firewall burnt down. There's hot dogs in the grill. The transfer case is fine. That's fine.
Cool.
The radio only picks up Braille, which I didn't even test the radio. See, check the radio. Front end alignment. It needs aligning. So that's something. Front end needs an alignment. No forward or reverse gear, just side to side. Which I just thought I was drifting Tokyo Drift all the way home.
Wow.
Got some looks at the stoplight, I will tell you, from the other people. Somebody wet the truck bed and raised the roof. I'm honestly, yeah. The brakes broke.
Jesus.
Yeah, where? Oh, the brakes broke.
Twice?
Yeah, yeah, which is it stopped ish. You know, I just had green lights all the way, but it might be the concussion.
Probably the rocks, I would think, would help you stop.
After I got exploded, I was ejected from the car. Before that, all I saw was green lights going all the way home. I don't know if they were actually green. I heard horns. I heard screaming. I may have hit a few things. I don't know. I can't tell if blast damage or I don't know. I have to get.
That's a lot of stuff, but at least it could be worse. There could be more things wrong with it than that. You know.
Well, it's got a racist engine.
Wait, you mean like a racing engine? It's got a racing engine.
Nope.
Yeesh.
And it needs an oil change.
Jesus Christ, man. So it needs a front end alignment too?
Yeah, I know. That's what I said. Hey, always check the front end when you purchase a vehicle. Camera 1. Hold on a second. I can't hear too.
I'm sorry that happened to you.
Do you hear the ocean? Like, I've just heard like Billy Ocean ever since I've gotten here.
No. Not at all.
Anyway.
You're hearing the blood. You're hearing blood in your ear.
Is that a metal band?
It could be. But in your case, no. It's just blood in your ear.
This is from other places.
Okay.
I'll get a tissue later, but it's fine. There's a lot of blood in different places.
Buddy,
help me out, Mark. I mean, you know a lot more about cars than I do.
Hose.
And where were you on this whole thing, man? I tried to call you like 14 freaking times, man.
Well, I was probably driving a car that worked properly.
God. Here we go.
But,
way to rub it in my face.
I mean, it's, that's, I guess, was this, you bought this sight unseen?
Oh, I didn't even see it.
Yeah, so there's probably...
I was listening to I Saw the Sign
Doesn't count.
When he called.
Doesn't count.
Doesn't count. I once was on the punk scene.
Yeah, that's...
I watched Second Sight with Balky Bartakamus in it, and then I got the phone call. Sight unseen. John Larroquette? No.
No, don't know who that is. Almost don't know who you are. I'm pretty surprised that you would do this.
Huh?
Yeah, so that's probably like one of the biggest mistakes. When you buy a vehicle sight unseen, man, that's a huge gamble, and you better know how to work on it.
I've been hearing a lot about people doing that, buying cars sight unseen, and
it's a big thing. A lot of YouTubers do it because it's sensational. It's a little more exciting than just I bought one local,
right,
and got lunch.
Well, maybe, and I'm just kind of speculating here, but maybe they have the resources to get the certain quirks fixed on the car, and maybe they can even make YouTube videos about how to do it. So it's like a spitball kind of thing, or a snowball effect.
So that's another thing, I guess, is like purchasing a vehicle that is going to be outside of your means to maintain.
Mm-hmm.
It's the $800 BMW equation that everybody sees. Oh man, I can get a 2001 BMW 330i for $750. Just needs a little engine work or something like that, and they're just in for it, man.
Right. An oxygen sensor is like $3,000 or something like that.
It's crazy. It's I think with BMWs, I believe you need some specialty tools. They might actually be fairly easy to work on, but parts are going to be expensive, and there's something about certain older exotics or European vehicles. It looks great. You go and walk up to it, and it looks damn near brand new, and it might not even have that many miles on it. But there's a reason why it's that cheap, and the old adage goes, if something looks too good to be true, it probably is.
Absolutely.
Your vehicle on paper looks terrible, and it is.
Well, it's actually, I think it's still in a ditch somewhere, and it was one of those country roads, so nobody's going to see it for a while.
At least you got really good insurance on it, so at least that'll be taken care of.
Oh boy. Here we go. That's the funny thing. The guy that sold me the car,
The extended warranty. That's right. Yeah,
he actually sold me insurance. He's kind of a jack of all trades. He's my pal though, so he's not gonna do me wrong. So I just got to call him tomorrow and give him the deets on what went down. And so I got liability coverage.
Okay.
And I got glove box coverage.
What about haunted transmission coverage?
That was not in there, but that's the devil in the details. I mean, literally, like you have to look into that kind of thing. You got to keep your eyes peeled. You want to look under the car when you get there. You want to look on top of the car. I learned a lot just in
I mean,
one
in your
concussion.
case, you want to look at the car. But
okay,
if you're going to be there,
all right,
looking at the car,
I get it. You know what you're talking about. I get it. You don't have to dumb it down for me. All right?
I mean, you know
get
too.
it.
We've both bought and sold
I look
many
under,
used vehicles.
I look over. I look at.
Yeah. I mean, you talked about it doesn't even really matter if it's the internet age or not because the song remains the same. You've still got the shady shade tree cat with putting sawdust in the transmission.
Right.
So
absolutely.
it'll get
All
you
the
home
little
a few
tricks.
days later, and then before you know it, he's gone.
There's a lot of tricks they can do out there, kids. All seriousness, all jokes and funniness aside. There's a lot of serious stuff that can go down.
Yeah, I've got some experience with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Please enlighten me, man. Shoot us a yarn.
So in one instance, this was many years ago. I think I was in my early 20s. I went with my brother, who was a Honda tech, to go look at a Honda Accord because, they're known for their great reliability and you can get them fairly cheap. They're great economy cars.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Very practical.
So we go there. We drive about 45 minutes and meet this dude. The car is parked in a parking lot. We'll go back to why that's a red flag in a bit. But we get in the car and fire it up and it runs fine. It was pretty cheap. I think it was like $500 or $600 he wanted for it, maybe a little more.
Nice.
We start driving it around. And after about a minute and a half, boom, ABS light comes on. Boom, check engine light comes on. Like one after another. All the dummy lights in the gauge cluster. Bing, 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 bing. The whole thing is lit up like the strip,
Nice.
And I asked him about the first one. Oh, don't worry about it, man. It'll go away. And then the second one came up. Didn't really have an answer.
He said,
third one,
it'll
fourth
go
one.
away.
Yeah. Third one, fourth one, fifth light. And
Nice.
he had nothing to say. And I was like, yeah, so obviously I'm not buying the car. You know that, right?
Right.
And he was kind of mad at me that I wasted his time.
Wow.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing where you're backed into a corner, so you double down.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you get angry even though you're obviously the one busted for doing something
Exactly.
So
throw smoke.
We ran away, man, because even if it was a stupid, simple problem, he lied about it. And what he did is he reset the ECU. He took the negative battery cable off the battery for about a half hour, let the capacitor drain, let it clear all the codes.
Yep.
But they came right back, like lucky for me, really early on in the test drive.
Right.
And he's tried to talk me down on the price a little. Oh, I'll take this much for it. I'm like, oh, well, it's worthless to me. And the reason why it's worth nothing is because you lied about it and tried to hide it. So I can't trust anything you say. Deals off. You got to be willing to walk away.
Exactly. Absolutely. Don't ever look at it as it's your car. Okay? Even when you go up there, I'm going to go see a car, you get all excited, you get jazzed, you see it, you see all these pictures, like, oh man.
The wrong attitude to have is, I didn't go this far to not bring a car home.
Exactly. You tell people, hey man, I'm looking at this, like you text pictures, oh man, dude, I'm going to get, oh dude, that looks dope, dude, yeah, get that, man. Oh, he's only wanting this for it. You get all jazzed up, you get there, and then you start like saying, oh, well, I can fix that, or oh, that this is a little bit of rust, I can sand that out, and this and that, and you lose sight of what's really important. If you can't trust a person and look them in the eye, then there's a lot to go there. And I learned the hard way about things. One of my first car buying experiences was a friend, of course, was selling a 1986 Cadillac Sedan DeVille.
Okay.
Beautiful car. I had exactly what I was just talking about, saying.
Those are the North Star V8 engines.
No, it wasn't. It was before. It was the 4.75, like the side. It was terrible. It was
This is in the mid '90s. It was a mid '90s.
No, it was an '86.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. The North Stars didn't come along until after 1991.
Right. So this is like crap. So what I didn't know, and in retrospect, hindsight is always 20/20. I get it, They have aluminum heads and a cast iron block. Cast iron and aluminum naturally don't. Over time, they kind of push away from each other.
They heat and cool at different rates,
right?
For sure.
So they had problems with the heads or the head gasket leaking, and sure enough, dude, like it was a beautiful car, man. Like had the Millennium Tri-Coat like pearl paint on it. It was in good shape. It was a perfect specimen. The interior was flawless. All the blue leather. Gorgeous vehicle, man. The V8 was so smooth.
So at face value, it just looked like the dream.
It was it, and I was in love, man. And like the dude was even like, I was like, "Would you take this for it?" And he was like, "No." And he was kind of a stickler about it. And I was like, "Okay, I'll pay." Whatever. Paid for it. Boom. A month later, water starts leaking out from under the car, and I'm like, "Is that the radiator?" I don't know. So I take it to a mechanic. Again, this is before the internet, before all this stuff. I think it was 1961. But so yeah, he says it's separated.
So it was a new car then, being in
they
85.
got it from the future. Yeah. I mean, I know a guy, but yeah. So he said the block's leaking. It's basically trash. I mean, you're gonna have to do head gasket. It's worth more. The car is worth less than the actual mechanical work. It's totaled. So fortunately, this is an instance where it's good to know, like a shade tree, good old boy mechanic that is actually, there's some out there. Like the guy that I worked for, he got all his vehicles serviced through this dude. And he was like the middle of nowhere, worked out of a barn, like a big barn, and he was like, "Man, just put some liquid glass in there, man. Put some liquid glass."
Liquid glass.
Yeah. And he gave me, wrote these instructions down on a napkin. And he was like, "Sodium silicate. Go to True Value Hardware and get sodium silicate, liquid glass, and run the car and blah, blah, blah. Put the water in and run it and pour the glass in, let it run for 30 minutes. And sure as I am sitting here, it stopped leaking. Boom. And never leaked again. It's sealed. It's that liquid glass stuff. It goes in, and once it hardens, it's like glass basically, and it fills in all the cracks.
That's really interesting because it's been my practice to never rely on the fix in a bottle to repair anything.
I was screwed at this point. I had no money to buy another car.
You used that stuff because you had nothing to lose.
Last ditch effort, man. Yeah, I would not have I could get another one, or I could, I wasn't gonna sell it to somebody. I was like, it's either this or I have no car.
Yeah.
So I was very distraught. Let's just say that at this point. And I was also young and dumb. So when you're dumb and young and distraught, it puts you in a particular place where you're not
very
making
vulnerable.
the best decisions. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was just like, boom, and then it worked, boom, and then bada bing. And then all the windows quit working, and it was a bad thing, and somebody rear-ended me. Anyway.
So I gotta just drive the point home that anything shy of it being a last-ditch Hail Mary effort, I would recommend never putting any stop leak, anything that has like a stop leak for your tires, a stop leak for your radiator, for your air conditioning system. All that shit is total garbage. If you have nothing to lose, may as well, man. May as well go for it. That's awesome that worked. I've never had that stuff actually work without totally destroying something.
Absolutely.
Even with seafoam. But that's another good point you were saying about having that shade tree mechanic guy, because if you get a vehicle for cheap because it needs some work and you think, oh, well, I'm still going to be getting a great deal. I'll have a shop fix everything wrong with it and I'll come out on top. You're going to be in for a bad surprise, because taking it to, not even going to speak on the dealership. I think for the rest of this, we should take the dealership totally out of the equation.
Right.
Just any shop in general. You're going to be spending a lot of money paying them, because you're paying them for the labor and for the parts with an upcharge on the parts. Otherwise, they're not going to warranty it.
Right.
You're paying them to pay everybody their hourly, to pay their insurance, to keep the lights on.
Absolutely.
All of that jazz. And more so they can actually make a profit doing it.
Right,
and not just break
They're not
even.
there for charity. You know what I'm saying?
Unless you're willing to do the work yourself and you're confident in it, or you've got somebody that you can rely on that's going to do the work, getting something for cheap that needs work is not probably the way to go. You should get something that's ready to roll without any issues out of the gate, as far as you know anyway. Of course, you can always end up with something that breaks down shortly after anyway, because It's a gamble. I know with any bill of sale that I write up along with a title, which I always do. It's not just the title. I'll ask them several times. Are you sure you don't want a bill of sale?
Yeah.
You all right, bud?
I've been feeling a bit weird since the whole explosion kind of thing. So I don't know. You kind of have a crown of fire on your head, and it's
I wouldn't worry. Just try and keep it together, man. It's pretty early on. We got a little ways to go. So.
And we're back. Let's go to our first caller. Okay, on KE97.0.
Yeah, we're using the phones for the cameras, man. Nobody called. Do you need a minute? Are you good? You want a soda?
I got Skoda.
I think just drink some beer and you'll be fine. Maybe sleep it off after the show.
Yeah. Let me try to get back into it.
Yeah.
So what I've learned, and this is hard learning, is when you go see a car, have that mentality. It's not my car. It's that person's car.
You've got no stake in the game.
Right.
If you walk away and don't get that car, then worst case scenario, you just left with all that money in your pocket, and that's not a bad day.
Think about those other cars that are out there that are twice as good, if not 3 times as better. First of all, when you're checking out a car, if you're not going to take it to a mechanic, take it to a mechanic. First off, if you can talk with the guy and say,
you mean
can I have
take
this?
it to get inspected for issues?
Exactly. I have a trusted mechanic. Find a trusted mechanic in your town. Talk to people.
See,
go different places.
Yeah,
go
I've got a
online.
split.
Look for somebody. I've got a great mechanic that I trust that I've gone to for years that I know will not BS me. And if I take a car to him, he's going to give me the straight nuts on what's wrong with it. No pun intended.
Okay, yeah, if you've got a mechanic friend that can do it.
Right.
Now,
Well, he's not a friend, but he's a very, reputable establishment. And,
What would he charge you to get the inspection done?
I think it's $40.
That's actually really good. Yeah.
$40.
Yeah.
Put it on the lift. They put the scan tool on it. All that.
Yeah. See, for me, I actually just recently bought another vehicle, that pickup truck out there.
Yes.
It's a 99 Dodge Dakota.
Yes.
With a 4-wheel drive with a V6. It's a big truck with a little engine.
Right.
But
kind of like me.
It was a good enough deal, and it needed work. But the work that it needed was all pretty basic stuff that really wasn't going to get in the way. It doesn't have a muffler. It's got a crack in the windshield. The passenger window fell off the track.
So nothing's haunted or...
No.
Nobody
There's
raised
no
the roof.
snakes in it. The radio is in audible words and not braille.
Some guys have all the luck.
I got pretty lucky because I snagged it real quick. I didn't take it to a mechanic to have him inspect it because I paid less than $1,000 for the truck.
And that means $1,000 for you laymen out there.
Yeah, that's $1,000 is like what all the hippest, the kids are saying is slang.
I heard some kids the other day. I was going
Yeah.
into Walmart, as a matter of fact.
But the big thing is it had a good inspection on it, and it ran and drove fine. And it wasn't worth it for me to take it to a shop. I've done this for long enough and knew that I had our friend Crispy and our little network of some people that were going to help me get it on the road for cheap enough, going outside of businesses to get it done. So I snagged it.
Yeah.
Now, if I was going to go buy a used vehicle and I was paying more than $2,000 for it, then yeah, absolutely. I would take it to a shop and have them really run it down and tell me, find anything that's wrong with it. Whatever you find that's wrong with it, if I buy the car, I'll make sure I come back to you to do the work. That gives the mechanic the incentive to really shake it down.
Right. Absolutely.
Find anything they can, which gives you leverage and a bargaining chip to knock the price down when you go to get it.
Absolutely. And so for people out there that that aren't going to take it to a mechanic, because not everybody can do that. I mean, let's be honest. So I'm going to say a couple of things that I would look at. And
what do you look for?
A yay or nay.
Okay.
And then you can throw your input in there. So what I'm going to do, I'm rolling up on this car. I'm talking to this dude. He's got me on the line. Blah, blah, blah.
What's the first thing you want before you even roll up there?
All right. What do you
How do you
mean?
want the vehicle to be presented to you,
Okay.
before you even get there?
I'm What do you mean? Like it's just in the
Well,
driveway with like the hood open, or what do you mean? Like
For me, I want to make sure that the engine's cold when I get there.
oh, okay, I got you. Okay,
I want to know that the dude
right.
hasn't been letting it warm up, so the
Nice.
smoke goes away
right
before I show up.
Ah, dude, that's a good one. Yeah, hell yeah, I would never even thought of that. Yeah, that's great. I wouldn't even thought of that. I would have been like, okay, if I opened the hood and noticed that everything was really hot, then I would, because I like to squeeze the hoses and check the hoses and everything to see if they're really brittle or if there's going to be some fluids that squirt out, you know, when you squeeze them.
Mm-hmm.
That's just me going on my personal stuff. This may be hilarious to people that know exactly what the hell they're talking about. I'm an uninformed person. I'm going on basically just real world experience.
Well, it's also good to touch those radiator hoses and make sure one's not hot while the other one's cold. You know,
Interesting.
because then you've got a blockage somewhere in the coolant system.
Right. Then I go under the car. Well, I'm the kind of, I'll start under the car because that'll let the person know, like, oh, this guy isn't messing around. I'll even wear a pair of coveralls.
That's what I did, and I went to go see this truck in the rain. Don't do that because A, you're going to get your ass wet, and B, paint jobs always look way better when it's raining.
Word. And any potential fluids that have puddled up underneath there might be washed away.
Exactly.
I'm
yeah.
doing
But
great.
I got soaked. My whole side and ass was soaked because I got all up underneath the car, and maybe he decided to pick that time of day and do it there because he knew it was raining. But
Right.
I let him know, like, I don't care, dude. I'm going to get real dirty digging through this thing.
Right. And Mark's not being paranoid by saying stuff like that. He's actually thinking, because if you want to save money and you've been burned before, you're going to think about stuff like that.
Hey,
He's
man.
going to say, hey, worst case scenario, you don't know this person, don't trust anybody.
Just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not out to kill you, man.
Who's out there? Who? Me? I didn't do it. Nothing.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Oh, so she's here.
Hey, buddy. This is also our co-host out of frame there. That's Roxy.
She just loves him
That's
and
my
leaves
buddy.
him. That's how
Yeah.
she rolls, man.
She's
Bye.
just waiting right there for me. Good girl.
But yeah, so yeah, you roll up in a pair of coveralls, even if you have no idea what you're talking about. Wear a pair of coveralls and have one of those orange like shop rags hanging out of the back of your back pocket. Slide in the car, go, what do we got here, bud? All
Okay.
right. How you doing? Nice
You
to
bring
meet
your
you.
own creeper?
Have a greasy hand. How's it going? Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Oh, is this her? All right, let's take a peek. You know, and yeah, your own creeper. That's why I bring you, Mark.
Your very own creeper. Yeah, you just lay on top of me and then I wiggle underneath the truck for you.
Just shimmy under there. Shimmy with me.
My
Yeah.
erection holds you in place.
Oh, that's the gear shift. Yeah, so you go under the car. You want to look at the frame first and foremost. You want to see if there's any rust, surface rust. Maybe give it a little tap. That's why you got your wrench or a hammer, intimidating to the seller. Give a little
Sure.
tappy. You know, if you see a bunch of stuff falling out, shaking, you see holes in the frame. No. You want to look at like your CV axles, maybe boots. If you see like
Yeah, you want to look
any
for tears, look for
seepage.
fluid.
Yeah, if you see any seepage around, it'll look like smudgy because there'll be dirt caked on top of oil or grease that comes out. You want to look for stuff like that. You want to look at the transmission to see if there's anything seeping out or leaking. You make your way. You start at the front of the car and you make your way to the back. You look at the drive shaft, give it a little twist, see if it's loose, the U joints or whatever. How am I doing, Mark?
Yeah, I mean that's I would do all that stuff. I do it a little bit in a different sequence. When I first meet the person, I usually, like when I went to go get this truck, totally went against a lot of my advice. I went and met him in the rain, in a public place, and which is fine, but it also to me raises a little bit like, okay, you don't want me to see where you live in case I have a problem,
Right.
which really doesn't make much sense for them because their address is on the title.
Interesting, and it's a look. Well, I guess I kind of get it. You kind of look at it from two perspectives, thinking critically. Like, is he just going to have somebody random from the internet come to his house? You know what I'm saying? There can be. It's so like there's so many things that can go wrong these days. It's so hard to, I mean, you're a very stand up person. I would trust you with anything. But
Well, I stand up as little as I possibly can,
He's
but
a
I appreciate
sit down
that.
kind of guy. Like,
Yeah, I'm a real sit down guy.
that's right. But he got good posture.
But what I do is they had just driven the truck, and the engine was warm.
Oh yeah, you're going against all you. You saw the pictures and you got a little cheeky with it? Didn't
No,
you?
I sat there with him for about 20 minutes to try to let the engine cool down as much as I could.
Right.
it was not great that he did that. He was a young kid. I found out that he was like a total pothead. I found blunt wraps and like homemade bong bowl pieces in the car, and there was like BB gun ammo.
Oh man,
like
this kid was living, bro.
He was doing the 18-year-old thing.
So you guys hanging out now? Or
Terrible
what?
cologne, and pretty much a few hours after I got the car or the truck, maybe the next day, I'd asked him a question about if he had the clips for the window. Because I said, hey, man, I know the window has been replaced, but do you have the hardware? Because I need to attach it to the regulator. And he totally ghosted me. I've not ever heard back from him since. So he was ready to bail, which we can get to that.
Wait, so you mean he was a ghost the whole time?
Well, basically, like, he totally washed his hands of it and was like going to completely ignore me. Which after a certain point, after about 3 days or maybe a week, depending on how cool they are, I'll let people hit me back if they have any questions or any problems at all.
Right.
And I'll work with them.
Right.
Because I want to do the decent thing, because that's bad karma.
Right.
If that kid is too young to understand that he's got bad karma coming his way. He ended up, but what I basically do is I walk around the car. We're at 45 minutes, by the way.
Nice.
I walk around the vehicle, do the basic stuff. I look under the hood. I walk around it, see if anything really jumps out and make a mental note, check the tire pressure. Anything that looks real, like they got a flat tire, or little things that tell you how they take care of the vehicle. A lot of it is nuanced. You're not looking for a major problem per se. You're looking for the things that indicate how well it's been taken care of, how well the interior looks. Does it smell good inside the vehicle? Does it smell a little too good, like they're trying to mask a bad smell,
Is there a
like
mildew
a dead
smell?
rat?
Right. Is
Yeah.
there leaking in the windows?
Do they put a bunch of stupid stickers on it, or does it look totally stock? Do all the tires have about the same amount of tread? Ask them questions about the car, not only to gauge, because you can't take someone's word for anything. I asked him when the timing belt was done, and he thought I was talking about the serpentine belt.
And it didn't bite him.
It didn't. No, it didn't. But he also didn't understand at all that I was talking about a totally different belt. But what I wanted to gauge, after I knew that he really knew nothing about cars, was he being honest with me?
Right.
Because I could ask him something and say, I like the ball joints were new, and I saw it looks like the ball joints are new. That looks good, and I would say something like, what about the control arm bushings? And I'd look and see that they're really old. Yeah, those were replaced too. Like, okay, so you're a liar. So it's all on me now. I'm all on my own.
He's throwing up red flags.
Yeah, but I look over the vehicle and let him know that I'm not messing around, and I also I can throw out what technical jargon I know to read how they take it.
Right? Is he going?
Is he with me? Is he on the level, or does he have no idea?
Right.
Yeah, and then let the engine. I start the engine and just let it run for like a while, just idling.
Right.
See how it does.
See, it's going to overheat.
If
it's got AC.
idle.
Turn the AC all the way up.
Mess with all the controls, the headlights, the horn, the turn signals, the hazards, the radio, anything that you can do. Go under the hood and check all the fluids.
Right.
Check the corrosion around the battery terminals.
Absolutely.
See if you can find oil everywhere from, around the valve covers to the cylinder heads to underneath of it to the drip tray near the radiator. Look for radiator fluid. Look for the ask them simple questions just to kind of keep them busy while you're almost ignoring them. At that point for me anyway, because I know that they're not being honest with me. So what they say doesn't really hold any water. I'm going to find out what I need to know on my own.
Right.
I'm just going to keep them kind of disarmed. That way I can come in. It's like verbal jujitsu.
Indeed.
That way I can just kind of roll along with them like, oh, hey, there's a massive problem, and throw them off their balance.
Right. Hip toss into that tire's bald.
Yeah. Yeah. And then after that, take it for the test drive. And that's an important thing is, what do you normally do when you test drive a vehicle? Like, what's your procedure?
Okay, so the first time I test drove a vehicle, my wife was purchasing a 2014 Honda Pilot.
Oh yeah, the one that I drove. I ripped the gas pump right out of the. I ripped the gun right out of the pump.
Yep. So spoiler alert.
She knows about that, right?
She doesn't, but she will. Spoiler alert.
Sorry.
It's okay. So she's gonna ghost me. It's fine. So yeah. That was interesting. It's when I guess it's a little bit of a different animal when you're going to a dealership because again you don't trust them. I mean they say, oh, it's a certified vehicle. We've had our technicians look at it, check it out, and everything's fine. So what I did was I took it on the road, bumped the AC. Definitely, it was during the dead of summer, so absolutely bumped the AC, smash the gas. Take your hands off the wheel when you go. You open your 40.
Loosen up a little bit.
Take your hands. No, in all seriousness, get on a straight road and take your hands off the steering wheel and see if it drifts from either side.
Yeah, hit the
Check
brakes.
the alignment.
Apply steady but consistent.
Yes, exactly. You feel any wobbling in the brakes when you're mashing the brakes. Check the when you smash the gas if it stutters or hesitates.
Yeah.
It had clean acceleration. The air conditioner froze me to death. I was really happy with the vehicle. Now there's one thing that I have a question because your alignment only works if the road is straight. So keep that in mind. You know what I'm saying? On certain roads, if they start to curve a little bit to the left,
there is a crown in a lot of roads.
Exactly. So
for water and fluids to run off.
Indeed. So you gotta keep that in mind. Like you can say, so I had some issues a little bit with the alignment, and I think once I hit, I can say this, once I hit about 85, that area, it'll start to pull a little bit to the left, or it's definitely to the left. So I took it back up there. It's still under warranty. It's a Honda certified vehicle, which can mean something. 100,000 miles or 5 years or something. So it was still under warranty, so they checked the alignment and everything turned out fine. So just make sure you keep stuff in mind and don't fall in love with a vehicle before you purchase it. Sort of like women.
Yeah, and I would say that probably a whole different set of rules apply if you're going to be buying a pre-owned vehicle from a dealership.
Indeed.
That's why I'm throwing that completely out. I'm talking about you and a guy or a girl off of Craigslist or Facebook or the Trading Post or whatever, and it's just you and them. There's no shop, there's no contractor, slick double talk. It's as is. You know, you got to assume that once you get that title and they get the cash, you get the vehicle, they're gone out of your lives for good.
I think that we've dropped some pretty decent knowledge in this podcast, this particular episode.
Yeah, I'm wondering what there might be that we're possibly forgetting here. I'm not sure.
If there's anything we're forgetting, now this is going to be on YouTube, so we can say stuff like, leave a comment. If there's something that you feel like we're forgetting or you disagree with us, hey, fight me in the comments. That kind of thing. Leave a like, leave a comment, whatever.
Yeah, we're by no means automotive experts.
Indeed.
But this is just from experience.
Right.
I mean, I've walked away. I've come across crazy deals that was just really good timing. I've made trades for vehicles as well, and that is more than doubly complicated. You think it'd only be twice as complicated just because there's twice as many vehicles involved.
Right.
But it's so much worse. I remember when I had a 92 or a 93 Nissan 240SX convertible.
I remember that.
Yeah, they're pretty rare. They only came in an automatic. I found a donor car for $300 about 20 minutes away. Drove it home somehow, and then took that donor car, had it towed an hour away because I found somebody on a forum that was a manager of a tread quarters.
Oh.
So I had that car towed there. I drove my car there. I brought it there to swap out the transmission for a 5-speed manual that was in the donor car. The deal was, you help me swap out the transmission. We use your lift. You get to keep whatever's left of the donor car.
Interesting.
Because he was going to use it for a drift car. He just needed the shell. He's going to get another engine and transmission for it.
Right.
13 and a half hours of solid work. I drove it home with a bad clutch slave cylinder. I couldn't get it into gear going through like a 4-way intersection in Virginia Beach, like Princess Anne Road.
Right.
At like 1 in the morning or something.
Right.
Got it in gear, just, 5th gear the whole way home anyway, so I was good.
Nice.
But I ended up trading that 240 for a 1998 Jeep Cherokee. It was like lifted. You remember that with the snorkel on it?
Snorkel, yeah.
Yeah, the guy was a pain in the dick to deal with. The negotiations literally came down to like a $50 difference, and he keeps the K&N air filter that was in it for real.
Petty.
Yeah, and he like dogged out the Jeep the day of and stretched. He either screwed up the the universal joint. Like he created a bunch of playing it, doing like neutral drops and burning out.
Oh yeah.
You all right? You holding up, man?
It's getting farther between.
All right, we're in the home stretch here. So he ended up as soon as he got my car, he ripped out all of the carpet and started doing a bunch of terrible things to it. And then a couple, like, I don't know, 3-4 days later, he went to go start it up, and he said that it was starting to smoke a little bit on the startup, which could have been from like valve seats or something.
Right.
It would go away, but he wanted to trade back after he already like ruined the car.
Oh no.
And he was a complete dick to me.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's
so I was
your
like, no,
car now,
sorry,
bud.
buddy, as is,
Yeah.
as written on the bill of sale.
Yeah.
You're on
How
your
many
own.
days was it that he had the car?
Like 4. No, yeah, it was probably sooner than that. Maybe even 2 or 3 days.
Oh no.
But he's already ripped the carpet out. All the
Yeah.
interior was gone.
Yeah. No.
He started doing these terrible mods to it and stuff.
Yeah. No.
So that's it, man. That's it, as is. And yeah, it's just it complicates things so much more.
Right.
I feel like there was something in there though that we were going to talk about with Craigslist or Facebook, but hey, maybe another time there.
Indeed.
I think we got it all out there.
We're gonna have many more podcasts, like it or not.
Yeah, hopefully we covered some like useful information. I really hope that my face is not shiny like it was in the last video.
I gotta say, it hasn't shined.
Good.
Not one shine, other than the light that comes from within.
Yeah.
No shine.
My face itches like crazy. It was either baby powder or House Autry seafood breading that I used.
That other one would have made me hungry.
I don't know which one it is. I at the moment I dunked my head in the bowl, I lost all sense of smell.
That's words to live by. That's going to be on my epitaph, on my tombstone. So,
right on, man.
I guess this has been a great episode. I mean, I think we've covered a lot of things.
Cool.
We've definitely. I've been through a traumatic experience. I should probably go to the emergency
Yeah.
room, but I'm a more of a home
really sorry
remedy
about
kind of
that,
guy.
man.
You know.
Yeah, I mean that front end alignment and the oil change is like a real bummer, dude.
Yeah, that's what I'm taking away from the whole thing. But again, live and learn,
Yeah. All right, well, on that note, I think I might need to get you to a hospital, or at least you might have a concussion, so you should probably lay down and take a nap for a while.
Yeah, Caution.
All right.
Hey.
He's back. All right. Okay, I think I might have to take the lead here and go ahead and end this episode.
Hey. Make sure to tip your waitress because she's working really hard to get you guys home drunk. Am I right?
That's right.
Up top.
You got it, buddy.
Up top.
Okay, well, thanks for watching, everybody.
This has been It's Broken
Podcast.
Cod Pass.
Yes.
Cod Passed.
All right, thanks, everybody. It's broken. 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 It's broken.